I did want to ask you about the beginning of Jokers because this is something that I love when you just see a group of friends that get together and do just things that they find funny, and then they convince somebody with money that it's also funny, and then they give them a chance to do it, and then it goes really well, right? This happened a few times. I feel like, It's Always Sunny, I felt like was that way, just very low budget, just a few friends filming some stupid shit, turns into like 17 seasons or something crazy like that. And then you have, Workaholics was kind of the same way from what I understand.
Lonely Island, the guys from SNL.
Yep. So funny. So talk to me about the origins of Impractical Jokers. So, because you guys were doing, as I understand it, you were doing improv together just to like try to get funnier or to be able to make it a career, or just a hobby, just to have fun with your friends.
For me, it was always the fun and hobby. There was different levels of it in the beginning. I mean, Sal, I would say, was probably the most serious about becoming ultimately a comic and in comedy, but we all enjoyed each other, made each other laugh, and enjoyed improv comedy. So that's where it started, and that helped us, get your bones of being in front of people, which it all comes down to.
Sure.
Also, the mindset of improv is yes and very positive. I think it helps especially when you're in such the business of everybody judging you and it hard. Being with a core group of friends that you could rely on, all those things that help that. So we started doing the improv stuff, and decade until anything really even happened.
For a decade.
Almost, 1999, we did our first improv show March 2nd or March 4th, 2004.
This is after practicing improv, just the four of you together.
In my mom's basement.
Yeah.
We just literally got together in my mom's basement and just made each other laugh, taped it, watched it.
What did you do? Did you have prompts or setups?
We would think about stuff. We would write stuff before we came in, just to pull from a hat as a prompt, because we couldn't ask anybody, kind of thing. So it's kind of like, does anybody have a suggestion? Nobody's in there. So we would do that kind of different exercises stuff. Murray was teaching improv, had taught improv, and made an improv troupe down in Georgetown. So we read books together. We went and saw UCB, things like that. So it was all, we were in the culture. I used to go watch Rob Riggle.
Oh, really?
Who's now a good friend of mine, but he's the best. I used to watch him do stuff, and he's unbelievable to watch
improv.
To watch him do improv, and that's how I got to know him. And fast forward years later, he's Rob Riggle. And it's like, he's just always so funny. But I used to go and study these people like that. We used to go watch, Horatio Sands, Amy Poehler. They were all, down doing UCB stuff. And
gotcha.
Tina Fey, you just watch them do their thing. And, if you pay attention and treat them as professors, in your mind, it's like, you study comedy, you figure out what were good moves, what's not. And ever since then, we just, kept at it, really. And it was always on the side. We even in the first season of Jokers, the three other guys had their day job still. Sal was still doing his bartending.
Well, because at that point, as I understand it, essentially they basically say we'll pick you up for a season.
Yeah.
And then
6 episodes.
If it go 6 episodes, and you got 6 episodes to prove whether or not you get another season of this.
Yeah.
So a lot of people, from what I understand anyway, keep their jobs first season
100%,
because you don't know what's going to happen.
Even until you get renewed for the second, you don't even know. So until you get your premiere date for your second season, you don't even know what's going on, because you can even film your second, and then they could be like, nah, something new comes out or something.
Whose idea was the format for Jokers?
It was really a group effort. I mean, Murr had been in a meeting because he was inside of development. He was temping all the time, but then he ended up working at the production company that made the show ultimately.
Okay. In L.A., New York?
In New York. Always New York. Always that was in our contract that we stay in New York. We didn't want to leave New York. So we did the whole, they were looking for a prank show, quote unquote, that was pretty big. And we were like, okay, what's our version of how are we funniest? That's it. So it really became out of we kind of could sell this as a prank show, but it's not really at all, because it's really just messing with each other.
Right. It's pranks on each other, which is what makes it awesome. Well, that's why it works.
I think people you hear from us, people all the time, you got to show the reactions of the people. You got to show, there's no reactions. We always look like a crazy person on purpose, because if people were getting mad or angry, we would stop. They'd be like, this is not working. This is not what we're out to do. Dude. So if you just look like a crazy person in New York, which is easy to do, that's it. We're the perfect spot for me was is this guy, what's up with it? I kind of laughing at you, but trying to hold it in. That was a sweet spot.
And so there's so many, I mean, obviously YouTube has made prank shows a dime a dozen, but there's so many that do it so poorly.
So bad.
Because I just if you're just going up and terrorizing people, it's just not funny. No. You know what I mean? It's I guess congrats on having the balls to do stupid shit, but also that poor person. Like I would have swung at you too.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah,
You can't
100%.
just come up to people and scream in their face and run.
Like, oh, and then you don't get it. I'm doing comedy.
Right, exactly.
Are you though?
Why are you so upset? Like, what do you mean? Why am I so upset? You yelled at me on the streets in New York. Right. My family's behind me. I was about to throw down. What are you talking about? Like, don't be a dick.
Yeah, that's just nature. Just don't like.
You deserve to get punched sometimes.
100%. And like if we ever got to that, it was like the license to be able to say no is what kept the show in its right space.
Yeah.
Because you are choosing the good of somebody else's existence over you, and that's what it's about, right? It was like, okay, all right, this is going to suck for me. I'm going to lose one. Hopefully I'll make it up in the next one and not get punished, but I can't tell this woman that she looks pregnant. Like, you know what I mean? Like, it's just not going to do it, you know? Because at the end of the day, we're nice guys, we're friends. And also it was a weird thing because it's such a weird dynamic because you would say something to your friend that you wouldn't want them to say because, oh, don't do that. You're going to look like a jerk. Or even the punishments. Like you think of this amazing thing. It's like, oh, we're going to get him so good.
Did you guys come up with most of the punishments?
All of it. Yeah.
All of them?
All of it, yeah. And, we had a writer's room that would pitch us stuff and we would always integrate it together. They've come up with some good stuff and we would help build on that. But we were always had our hands in everything.
Yeah.
But it was like always like a thing where it was like, oh, we should. It's like, oh, I'm so mad at you, but I'm so proud of you as you're getting punished. You know, it's like, I'm so mad. I remember one of the ones I was so mad. It was the one where I was eating boiled eggs and it was like I had to eat the eggs so they book a conference room. They hid hard-boiled eggs and I had to open them and find them and eat them dressed as a maintenance guy, and they had a meeting going on and I'm just like digging around trying to find these eggs, and it was so stupid. I'm like, this is so dumb, but I heard them laughing so loud and I was like looking at the faces of the people, and there was one woman like trying to take notes at the meeting, and I'm on a ladder with just shell falling, and she's like looking at me, and I'm like, this is perfect. This is exactly what the show is.
Right.
Yeah, it's just interesting that you'd have that, and there's a million moments like that. I did over 300 episodes, a decade of my life.
That's crazy.
And it was just like crazy to just have those moments just build and build and build, and you're like, this is why it works.
Are there any moments that are kind of like the gift that keeps on giving type of a thing, like continuous jokes that exist between the four of you guys?
Oh yeah, I mean up your ass and to the left. I mean, it was something we said once. Somebody came up to us asking for directions way before anything was happening.
Yeah. And
I think it was me. I think it was all of us. We were just sitting there, or whatever, and somebody asked for direction. We were like, "Yeah, up your ass and to the left, up here." And he's gonna go, and they're like, "Oh, thanks," and they walked away, and we fucking lost it. And then it made its way throughout. It's throughout our life. Whenever anybody asks you, any of us, not even with each other, anybody asks me anytime, it's just up your ass to the left, and it's so. And then you have to follow it up with you right up here, and then you're gonna go. You got to do this, right? So then it just graduated into the show where it was like, we're so good at doing this, we would just do it to people's mouths as they were talking to us. Like, there's one shot in the show, I remember Sal was in the middle of Madison Square Park or someplace, and a lady walks over and she's like, "Where's this?" He goes, "It's directly up your ass and to the left." And the woman was like, "Okay," actually went to the left, and it was like, what is going on?
Did you just not register what I just said?
It was just something that just always stuck with us. And now people meet me at like the meet and greets after my show and be like, where do I go? Like when they're done, I'm like, oh, you go up your ass to the left over here. Like that. People say it to me. So I think that's something that transcends, because it just was something we've always done.
Yeah.
You know, it was great. Right. And it actually became part of the show, and then it became part of the culture of Jokers. And it's just something that I would say is the gift that never.
Yeah. And the Larry.
The Larry bit. Yeah. Well, that got made on the show, and then just became its own beast.
Right.
Like, you can't even, I mean, literally, I just thought the idea to yell the name Larry, and then who would have thought? Like, and I always think, like, what if I yelled Frank?
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, it's so funny. It was just like Larry seemed like the right word, right, the right time. And then
it almost worked.
Yeah.
Almost worked.
Almost got it. I still can't find them.
So close.
I mean, the suck it thing is something I get all the time too. You know, when I was Captain Fat Belly, I told people to suck it.
Yeah.
And I get these little like kids at the meet and greets, like, "Can we do the suck it?" And I'm like, yeah, sure. We have like pictures of me and like 12-year-olds with that. I'm like, "Your parents say it?" They're like, "That's there." With the whole family's like, "Suck it." I'm like, this is weird, man. What is going on? But yeah, all that stuff just to be, I mean, you grew up. You know, I don't know how old you are, but like I'm 48. Like, so as you grow up, like you quote things, whatever. And just to be the thing that people are quoting is super cool. So funny. I remember one of the coolest things ever in my life, and I don't know if it'll ever be topped with a fan. There was this kid. I was at a Target, and I'm just, I got a baseball hat on. I'm just like checking out, whatever. I get on the end of the line, and the kid's with his mom, and he's like 14, I guess. And he starts yelling at me. He's like, "Larry," whatever. And I was like, oh, this kid. And then I realize his mom goes, "Stop." And I realize he's just doing it. He doesn't know I'm there. He's just doing it like to mess with his mother.
That's hilarious.
And he did it, and then somebody like down the line like smiled like they knew what he was doing. And I was like, this is unbelievable, right? So I paid myself at the self-checkout, and then I tapped him on the shoulder. I took my hat off. I said, "He's not here." And the kid went, And I walked away and I was gone. And I was gone. Like, no picture. He can't prove that story. You know, like I was just gone. It was one of the coolest things. I was like, wow, to be, what are the chances of all that's a line up?
Nobody's going to believe
Nobody's going to believe you. I was like, it's like one of those things we tell kids.
You're just going to end up in an insane asylum one day.
It was just so, I swear to God, I saw him, you know. But yeah, like just to have those moments is, you know, very fortunate.
Yeah, I'm unbelievable, man.